And thank you, everyone. We're here today for the Economic Development, Tourism, and Event Management meeting. We have one counselor in attendance along with staff because we don't have any agenda items that we need to vote on. We're going to proceed with the updates so that we're up to par. I'm sure people will be joining us as we go, but we'll start. I have to call the meeting to order. Any declarations of conflict of interest? None for Kevin. Approval of our agenda.
Sure.
Now, approval of our minutes. Are we able to approve our minutes? If we're not, so we'll have to.
I think we need to.
Yeah, we would need to. So what I'm going to do is I'll put that on hold with the hope that someone else shows up, and if not, we'll have to move those minutes to our next meeting for approval. Okay. We'll move right into discussions and reports, and we're going to start with the economic development report with Wayne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few highlights under economic development. I know we've talked a lot about the Economic Development Micro Summit, but it actually has happened now late in October last month. It was a great success. We had 15 participants and lots of positive feedback, not only from the participants, but from the Atlantic Mayors Congress as well. We continue to work closely with Innovation PEI and have been participating in a number of economic-based sessions with them and other organizations such as Invest in Canada and Global Affairs Canada. We're working closely with Immigrant and Refugee Services Association of PEI with respect to finding ways to connect with the newcomers community during the pandemic. Normally we would have orientations and other reach outs happening here, and obviously with the pandemic and the numbers associated with our events, we can't yet get back to hosting those, but we're working with other departments such as Parks and Recreation and others how we can better align our efforts. One of the big positive items that has come up is that the raising of the flags for various countries and celebrations, etc., has gone over quite well with those countries. So kudos to the Mayor's Office for reaching out and being a good partner with respect to those. The new physicians welcome will be held on December the 7th. We're just finalizing the venue where that will be. I believe that we have in the range of 15 or so new physicians that we will recognize, and more details will come on that to the committee. Recently, the Greater Charlottetown Area Chamber of Commerce announced the 2022 President's Excellent Award finalists. The event itself is not until January the 26th, but as you may recall, the City of Charlottetown is a partner and of one of the awards, the Emerging Business Excellent Award. And the finalists in this category are Flourish Development Group, Lone Oak Brewing Company, and Sunly Energy. So stay tuned, the awards will be on the 26th. We do have a table at that event, and Jill will work to ensure that we're in attendance at that. I circulated an email to the committee earlier this week on a good news announcement for YYG Charlottetown with respect to Swoop Airline announcing a new flight for this coming summer, direct Edmonton to Charlottetown twice weekly, which will be a great addition to our complement as we move into the heightened season. And finally, under economic development, our team has been working with a number of other departments with respect to the official plan with a focus on economic development, tourism, event management, culture, and potentially reconciliation. So we will bring a final, I'm not going to say terms of reference, a final scope of work back to the committee once it's ready.
Excellent.
So that's it for economic development.
Thank you. Councillor Ramsey, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just wondering with the table there, Wayne, but you already hit the nail on the head with that, so we usually go to that.
What was the question, Councillor Ramsey?
The awards.
Yeah.
The awards.
Yeah, we do have a table of that event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm good. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to B. Again, thank you for joining us. So we're not going to be able to approve minutes or anything because we don't have quorum, so we're just getting updates based on staff today.
Sorry, I was actually at a meeting on our OP and our strategic plan.
Excellent, wonderful, thank you.
If you want to go down to that, if they're still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, because we want to get updates and this is not a real meeting.
It's not a real meeting.
Well, there's no voting on anything today because we accommodated the the new time for our committee, but obviously it's not a great new time either, so
All right, I'll see if I'm still there. I was,
thank you for,
yeah, I just didn't want to miss this in case there's opportunity for another call.
I know, well, we'll get there. Absolutely, we just heard that, thank you. All right, on number B is Laurel on Tourism and Culture Report.
Yes, so our planning for holiday events is in full swing. So our neighborhood parade tours begin on Monday, fingers crossed for good weather. The Santa float is actually being assembled today, and we're having a new float constructed for mayor and council to ride on. So we're excited about that. We're also running a new social media contest this year to help residents engage a bit more with the event. So it's called Get Festive YYG. So we're asking residents to don their festive favorites, whether it's an ugly sweater or a Christmas onesie or elf shoes or Christmas hats or anything of that nature while they're out watching the parade tour, snap a picture, and then interact with us with the hashtag Get Festive YYG on the city's social media channels. And then we're going to be awarding some prizes the week after. So that's stay tuned for the winners on that. There should be some good images. We've got really great council participation in the event again this year. There's just one no and one question mark right now, so it should be a good time. Public Works, as I'm sure you have seen, has the city looking amazing. The little elves have been out transforming everything over the last few days, so they're just finishing things up. We have our holiday projection on the Plaza that we discussed at our last meeting and that we announced earlier in the week. The installation for that was done yesterday and last night, so it's ready to roll for next Friday. We're actually going to show anyone in the room a preview a little bit later on the agenda of that. We've also been working closely with Wayne on the Wintertide file in terms of the logistics and communications planning. I know he's going to update on that in his event management report, so I won't touch on that. And then plans are also coming together really well for Capital New Year celebrations. Charlotte is the lead on that file, so she's planning for an announcement sometime in early December. I had the opportunity to attend TIPI's annual conference and AGM earlier in the month. Some data that I will share with you is coming out of Tourism PEI. So in terms of tourism industry recovery, following, or I guess still during the pandemic, data as of September 30th basically shows that our tourism traffic has increased significantly between June and September, which we would have anticipated it would. And there's noticeable bumps in the graph every time that there was a relaxation of travel restrictions. So when the PEI Pass was introduced for Atlantic residents and then expanded across the country and then expanded to US travel, there's some peaks showing up in that data. Recovery across the country is currently projected to take until 2025 to achieve 2019 levels, which is still quite a long time. So there's still a lot of support that's required. On the good news front, though, PEI is projected to return to our 2019 levels a full year earlier, so by 2024. And to date, we're about 50% recovered. Both Wayne and I are off to the National Tourism Congress in Ottawa at the end of the month, so I'm sure there'll be some great information that comes out of that will allow us to move forward through that recovery. On the cruise front, as we know, cruise is an industry that hasn't had a chance to recover yet, but things are looking really positive for 2022. I believe I mentioned last month that next week I'll actually be participating in a 2-day facilitated workshop around welcoming cruise back to our communities. So I'm interested to see what information is coming out of that and how we can be best prepared to welcome all those cruise passengers and their crews back in 2022. And then just lastly, on the culture file, so Charlottetown Arts and Culture Awards were handed out on October 25th in front of a full house at the Trailside Music Hall. So I know that both of you were in attendance. The Arts Advisory Board, in collaboration with Charlotte, did a really fantastic job with that event. It was one of the first Pass events that we had to go through, and it was seamless. We also struck a new partnership with the Charlottetown Film Festival this year, so they announced their award winners during the ceremony as well, which was really well received. And Trailside will likely be the venue moving forward. We got a lot of really positive comments about it, and it just felt like a good venue for culture awards. So that was a positive. Our consultant for our new public art plan better visualize Charlottetown's downtown. She has a big update plan for the Arts Advisory Board for their meeting next week, so we're interested to see what direction the plan is taking, and we'll find out if we're on track for that plan to be wrapped up around mid to late December. And then lastly, Discover Charlottetown and the Old Triangle are partnering on a new piece of public art for the downtown. That is actually going to planning board on December 6th. So if either of you are on planning board, watch for that. And that's all I have today.
That's excellent. Yeah, great work. Thank you, Kevin, or Councillor Ramsey, sorry.
Good to go.
Good to go. The Arts and
Well,
Culture
pressure on me
Award.
today.
The Art and Culture Awards were excellent, and I actually sat in an environment yesterday, and they're looking at a project that I said they might want to plug into our arts consultant a little bit too, to
Yeah.
see if we can collaborate a little bit with some of what they were trying to do. So
Okay.
I hope that was okay to
Okay.
share that. All right, Mr. Long, you had C&D, Event Management Report, and Invest in Canada. So I'm going to let you take the next two.
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. A few highlights under event management. Busy prospecting and bidding. As always, it's ongoing. Working with a number of events rights holders and promoters, not only in the Atlantic region, but beyond the Atlantic region as well. Continue to work closely with Tourism PEI with respect to the to alignment with their department and being on the ground floor in terms of securing events for elevated funding options. So we have some good dialogue there and some good partnerships. I'm fresh off returning from the Primetime Sport and Entertainment Conference in Toronto, along with several other meetings in the area. And then, as Laurel indicated, Tourism Industry Association of Canada National Conference is getting to return this year, which a number of our colleagues will be at. As a part of that mission, we also have sport tourism meetings tied into it, held in conjunction, which is an annual mission for us. Recently hosted events in Charlottetown, included the Charlottetown Scarecrow Festival, as everyone is aware, the Charlottetown Film Festival, and the Atlantic Cup Speed Skating Championship, to name a few. The Tai Conference that Laurel touched on was a nice return to the tourism industry to collectively gather. An important note of highlight from there was that festivals and events ranked #1 in terms of where we should be focusing on through the recovery phase of the pandemic and beyond. So it ranked over golf, it ranked over beaches and anything else that we stand for, culinary, etc. Festivals and events ranked as #1 because they're strategic travel trip motivators and they encourage people to come to a destination. Canada Games remains very busy, ongoing. We have multiple files there. Infrastructure projects continue to roll out. While they don't fall under this committee, I'm heavily involved at both the Eastlink Center and Bell Alliance Center, working on some legacy projects as well. One of the highlights we're focused on now is we're approaching the 1-year out anniversary to the Games, believe it or not. Hard to believe that we're on the eve of hosting just a year down the road. Working with Canada Games with respect to how we acknowledge that in Charlottetown and ensuring that there's a heightened awareness around the Games as we start to push toward the Games themselves. There's another planning session coming up very soon with respect to the cultural celebrations. And as you know, we have the Anchor Festival here in the capital city. Substantial effort has been put into planning the Charlottetown Christmas Festival and the Wintertide Holiday Festival. So the Charlottetown Christmas Festival, November 12th to December 19th. Wintertide Holiday Festival, November 26th to January 9th. It takes a large effort from staff in order to execute these events. There's a lot of things that go behind the scenes. It's probably one of our most busiest times of the year, but be great opportunity for our community. Obviously, Discover Charlottetown plays a huge role. They own the Charlottetown Christmas Festival, and we're working closely with them on that. I will say here also as a highlight, the Wintertide Holiday Festival concerts, which there's normally 2, but this year there's 3. Normally would be held at Trinity United Church. We can't go to the church to get the capacity that we need. Last year we were able to go to the Confederation Center because it was not as busy as it normally is, but they're returned to a busy time, and nor do we have the elevated budget to be able to go there. But we struck a deal with the Convention Center, so the shows will be at the Convention Center. And because we're going there due to the pandemic, we submitted an application for a grant to the Tourism PI, got the $7,000 rental fee, so we're able to get the facility virtually through a grant from the provincial government. So we're quite happy about that as well. Also part of the Christmas celebrations is the new Peaks Wharf Christmas Village. If you haven't been, go check it out. It's pretty
Lots
awesome.
of positive feedback, on
Yes,
that,
yeah, it's awesome. Deck the Halls at Founders Food Hall and Market is also a wonderful event, and they've done some great things down there. And then Confederation Center of the Arts live at the center main stage Christmas programming, which there's several shows coming up there as well. And as Laurel indicated, our projection is ready to go. We'll give you a sneak peek here in a few minutes. Working hard with events for the winter months with respect to sport tourism, so all those hockey events and ringette events, gymnastics competitions can return. It's important to our community, especially hotels and restaurants and retail in the shoulder tourism season. And then finally, lots of efforts behind the scenes with respect to the Jack Frost Winterfest presents Ice City. As indicated at the last meeting, Jack Frost can't happen how it normally does, but we will execute Ice City again over a 4 to 5 week period with signature events every weekend. So it'll heat up like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of every weekend. So that's a quick overview of event management.
Wow.
I have a question. Mr. Madam
Yeah.
Chair.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Were we in the bid for the MBL team?
One of the things I can say here, Councillor Ames, is that the Island Storm, as you know, has paused because there is no Atlantic Division this year with the NBL, the National Basketball League of Canada. The ECBL, the Eastern Canadian Basketball League, which you're asking about, has looked at many communities. It's fair to say that they have expressed an interest and are in communication with Eastlink Centre Charlottetown. So it would be a rental with Eastlink Centre Charlottetown. Councillor McCabe is chair of this committee, and myself have an upcoming meeting with Eastlink Centre on this particular file. There's been a number of teams announced for the league itself. The latest was yesterday, I believe, for the Annapolis Valley area, and there's more announcements to come. I think the biggest challenge is that Eastlink Centre needs to respect their partnership. They're still under contract with the Storm, and although there's not a storm season, there still is a contract. But at the same time, the building is in the business of being active. It's a sport and entertainment venue, so if there's opportunities, they need to be seriously explored. So in short, communications are ongoing.
So they're looking at 2 teams? There's a possibility of having 2 teams at PEI?
I can't, they have announced for Summerside, I can't speak on behalf of them, but I can say that they have explored Charlottetown and are in discussions.
Because they already signed a deal with Summerside,
Yeah.
that's what I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
If we explored that avenue there, would having them here.
yeah. There's been, discussions have been ongoing for 2 or 3 months now.
Okay.
But because it's not a City of Charlottetown file, I don't have all of the details. It's between Eastlink Centre Charlottetown and the league itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. As soon as I have further updates, I'll bring them back.
No, I was just wondering if we were approached or we were in the middle of talks too, but why Summerside got it? I mean, more power to them.
Yeah.
I mean, why they got it since we already had the Storm.
Well, I think that Summerside likely got a team because we already had a team in another league, and it's different than having a Q team or a team in the National Basketball League. It's a straight up venue rental, so there's no partnerships, there's no funding going into it. It's no different than if you and I want to go out to the Eastlink Centre and rent it. So it's a straight up venue contract agreement versus funding from a municipality or other partners to have a team in the city.
Okay.
And the other part of it, that is the private sector who push that through. It's not us pushing it through. So if there's a group out there who want to invest, that's who will come from.
Yeah, it's private, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll bring you an update.
Yep.
Councilor Cayman and I have a meeting next week, we'll bring you an update.
Not a problem.
The next item on the agenda is Invest in Canada. Updates from Invest in Canada. This is simply information sharing. I don't have a whole lot to report. You see the report in the package. There's 2 documents attached. It provides an overview of the Atlantic region with a focus on Prince Edward Island. It's important to note that although the pandemic has been challenging, that we fared out fairly well within this region and Canada as a whole. There's some facts and figures within this document, and if you have some time, I encourage you to read the documents. We will use them moving forward with respect to our economic development and traction efforts, but as you well know, a good portion of our efforts is done in partnership and alignment with Innovation PEI.
Cool. Thank you.
Questions?
Good to go.
Okay.
Just one point on the stats for CPI in the country. It's 4.7% year over year. For PEI, it's 6.6%, so substantially more here, and could be challenging winter coming up.
Right. Oh. Thank you. Miss Laura Lee for the 2022 Charlottetown Festival and the Guild Summer Festival.
Yes. So the city's two main theater venues both announced their summer festival programming this week. I think it's safe to say that theater is going to be alive and well in Charlottetown next summer. So the Confederation Center kicked things off at the beginning of the week. They announced actually a couple of weeks ago that Anne will be returning to the main stage after a 2-year hiatus. So I think that will be a popular draw for people to get back into that regular programming. They also announced that Charlottetown Harbor, which is a musical comedy that was co-written by and starring Alan Doyle, is going to be hitting the stage this summer. So that's been a few years in the making, and I think that it will be attractive to people that are fans of Alan Doyle, but not necessarily fans of theater, and people that are fans of the East Coast and East Coast storytelling. So it should be a fantastic draw. That is a world premiere. Programming will be back at the MAC next summer as well. They've got 2 shows, Betty's Song, which is a story of a mother, daughter, and a lobster boat that was created by Ashley Condon. So she will be starring in it as well. And then Hey Viola, which is the story of civil rights trailblazer Viola Desmond, who's on the $10 bill. So it's going to be featuring musical hits of Viola's era as well. So it should be fairly entertaining but educational. The outdoor amphitheater, they're taking a bit of a break from the one show Young Company that would normally play at noon, and taking a bit of the same approach as they actually did this past summer, where they're running multiple shows over the course of the summer. They'll still be free to the public to attend. They've partnered with the Mi'kmaq Heritage Actors to kick the summer season off with a new show. And then some members of the cast of Anne will be bringing the stories of Robert Munch to life in Munchables, so it should be great for the young kids. And then Exclusive Crew, which is a local dance crew, will be doing a show that features urban and Caribbean music and dance that's fused with island step as well. So there should be some entertaining programming happening at the center next summer. And then yesterday we went across the street to the Guild to find out about their summer season. So they're going to be running a main stage series that is going to feature Steel Magnolias. So the iconic movie that we all know is actually adapted from the play. So that play is going to be playing at the Guild. They also are bringing back Tapestry, the tribute to Carole King, which sold out last year and then sold out the extension as well. Wayne and I both had the opportunity to attend. The room was humming, definitely. And then they also will have a world premiere of their own of the 2 Horsewomen, which they did some tabletop readings a few years ago in Charlottetown, and it was received well. So we're looking forward to having that play in the city also. In addition to their main stage series, they'll be running an East Coast Celebration series, which is going to feature Canadian musical performances. So they'll be kicking things off with the Silver Wolf Band on National Aboriginal Peoples Day, National Indigenous Peoples Day on June 21st. That'll be a free show. So it's an Indigenous band from Labrador that has been making waves on the music scene that will be coming in. And then Wayne's favorite, Keontae Beals, will be playing along with Heather Rankin and Joel Plaskett. They also will announce more artists in the new year. So there's some great shows to take in at the Guild. And then lastly, their musical theater summer school is going to be putting on 4 productions as well. So they're going to do Honk Jr., Shrek Jr., and 101 Dalmatians Kids. And then they've also come up with a new original production called The Tunes and Tales of PEI. So lots going on in the theater scene. Tickets for everything are on sale now. So If you're short on Christmas gift ideas and any of that is appealing, I encourage you to support those 2 venues. Any questions?
Exciting times. Thank you, Laura. Now we're gonna get a little preview of the holiday projection that will be on the Plaza.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yes.
Get into this great season.
A second to come up here. You're a little too prepped, apparently. Is that source still online?
There you go.
Okay.
So this is what we're gonna see on the Confed Center.
This is it.
Correct. So this will start next Friday evening. So the show's actually going to run from 5 to 10 p.m. nightly.
Excellent.
And it's going to run every 5 minutes. So there'll be a countdown clock that plays in between, so you'll know how long it's going to be until the next show, which I'll also show you that intermission screen at the end. So these are just like the doors on the facade, and that will be gone.
So shows like this are they're 3 minutes because of attention span. No matter where you go, you'll see them in a 3-minute rotation.
Has it been on the Plaza yet?
That
Oh,
is-
yes.
We'll show you
Yeah.
pictures set up
We
last
tested it
night.
last
Oh, you
night.
did?
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture at the end, but, so this is the intermission screen that will play in between the shows. So as Wayne had mentioned at the last meeting, it's presented by Confederation Court Mall, it's partnership obviously with Confederation Center. And then, we did receive some funding, so we've just listed our partners. So this will count down every 5 minutes, and then it'll just loop back through January 9th. So every night.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I have some photos from the rooftop last night, which I failed to put on this jump drive before I came out, so I'll just show you on my phone before we leave. Did you get anything else, Dad? Okay.
Exciting. I love this time of year. That's awesome. Thank you. Anybody? Anybody have any questions? I'm just joking.
Careful, you wanna watch it.
I know, I'm not even gonna put him on the spot. Thank you for
No,
being
I'm
here
like-
today, Councillor Ramsey.
My wife was right all
Oh.
night, but anyway.
And your grandkids? Come on
True.
now.
For
It's
children.
great.
Yeah, it's for families.
Our last item today,
Right,
before we get to
family.
see it on Laurel's phone, is the Sport Tourism Canada article. Mr. Wayne Long.
Yeah, Madam Chair, this again is information sharing. Sport Tourism Canada recently introduced a new feature on their social media with respect to sport tourism. And they post articles in a number of places. The first one coming up is on LinkedIn. They selected Charlottetown, given our many successes and accolades, and we have a great hosting history and record. I just included a copy of what the editor wrote. This is not us writing, it's an editor actually writing it, and then there's also a copy of an ad that also will run with it as well.
Yeah.
So information sharing purposes.
That's awesome. Well, great job, guys. Thank you so much for all the work and all the updates today. And we can't introduce any new business, Councillor Ramsey, because we can't do any formal business, so I'm
Why our
going to
shoulders
ask.
are sore.
Thank you for
We have to
everything.
carry
We'll
this
do a
down,
motion
sir.
to adjourn. We'll do our minutes and stuff for the next meeting.
The motion that